If you're a lover of fragrances, then you know that blind buying is just part of the game. We've all been there, and I want to share 10 fragrances with you today that I think would be quite safe for a blind buy. Whether it's for yourself or maybe you want to buy someone a gift, you have an idea of 1 or 2 fragrances they already have. So stay tuned, guys, for these 10 recommendations. And if you're new, then welcome. I'm Danielle, and on this channel, we talk about fragrances. So get involved in the comments, and please don't forget to subscribe. I would love to talk with you guys in the comments. I would love for you to leave a like on this video, and let's get into the recommendations. I'm gonna start with an absolute banger. I just think this is like a universal banger. As long as you are not offended by gourmands, I just don't see how you couldn't love this fragrance, and it is Bianco Latte. Now this fragrance, I just think is incredible. The more I wear it, the more I fall in love. When I first got it, this was a blind buy for me. And when I first got it, I was like, oh, okay, it's like a fluffy, sweet fragrance. And not that I was underwhelmed, but I was like, okay, this is nice, but I wasn't in love. But my God, the more I wear this, it's like it just becomes more sophisticated and more refined to my nose. And I really do think like it's the most incredible gourmand. I love the way they did this fragrance. It's just so addictive, so unbelievably addictive. So I have some notes about the fragrance notes, and Bianco Latte has caramel at the top. In the middle, it has, I never know how to say this, coumarin, I think it's coumarin, and honey, and in the base, vanilla and white musk. And I do think maybe it's the white musk in this fragrance that kind of tones down all the super gourmand notes, because, you know, caramel, honey, vanilla, coumarin, like these are really sweet and really intense. But I think the musk just adds it kind of ties it all together in a way that is soft, and I don't know, they create something quite fluffy, sweet and beautiful. And yeah, I just think anyone that loves a sweet fragrance would love this. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it's really long lasting as well. Huge compliment getter, this fragrance. I think this would be great. Like if you like gourmands, I think you should definitely get this. I think if you are thinking of a gift for someone and you know they like something sweet, you know, a lot of people, especially people that are not super into fragrances, you ask them, oh, what kind of fragrances do you like? And they will say, you know, I just like something sweet. Kind of like me with cocktails. You know, when you go to a restaurant and you want to try a cocktail and it's like, give me something sweet, anything sweet. That's me anyway. And I think if someone has that kind of taste in fragrance, Bianco Latte is definitely one to blind buy. The second fragrance is Escapade Gourmand. I'm currently sampling this fragrance, and I think it's got a very similar vibe to Bianco Latte in terms of it's quite a yummy, very heavy vanilla type of fragrance. At first, I was ever so slightly underwhelmed by this fragrance. It did really smell like vanilla extract, which is fine, which is great, but I didn't really get much else from the fragrance. But as I've been testing it a bit more, I feel like it really does have a similar vibe to Bianco Latte. It's not as fluffy and soft, but it is really like sweet and warm and just very vanilla forward. And I think, you know, both of those, Bianco Latte, Escapade Gourmand, like if you are into gourmands, I think that you could potentially love both of these. I prefer Bianco Latte, but I do think Escapade Gourmand is another good option as a gift, or add another gourmand to your collection, because why not? So the notes in Escapade Gourmand, there is sugarcane at the top, vanilla, tonka bean in the middle, and benzoin and musk in the base. So I think, you know, some of those notes are quite similar. Tonka bean and coumarin are kind of like sisters or cousins. And of course there's vanilla and there's musk in both Bianco Latte and Escapade Gourmand as well. So I think they are of the same sort of vibe. Maybe you could just pick one of those or have both in your collection. So going in a completely different direction, I've got a musky fragrance that I think would be perfect for anybody. I cannot honestly see anyone disliking this fragrance. I couldn't see why. And it is another 13. This is a lovely fragrance. It's a musky, sweet type of fragrance. It's not gourmand at all. It's very musky, but the sweetness is very sort of, it's like a light sweetness. There's nothing heavy or dense about this fragrance. I almost want to say airy sweetness. It's a lovely fragrance that I think would be perfect for most seasons. And like I said, I think it's so inoffensive. There are no notes in this fragrance that are like super strong or super polarizing. I think it's just a really pleasant, musky fragrance. And I'm not a super musky person, but I really enjoy wearing this fragrance. So let's talk about the notes. There's quite a lot of synthetic notes in this. So there's some fruits at the top. There is pear, apple, citruses, and then in the middle you've got some synthetic notes. You've got some ambrette and jasmine as well. And then in the base, quite a few different synthetic notes, but one of them is ISO E Super, which has that sort of like your skin but better kind of vibe. And I think this fragrance, I don't know if I would definitely describe this as your skin but better. I think there's a bit more going on in here. It's just so, wow. Yeah, it's tiny bit fruity, a little bit sweet, very musky, and I just find it gorgeous. And I think this would be really nice for even people that are not super into fragrances. So my friend, she hates a lot of the fragrances that I have, like she really hates them. But she really liked this one. She really liked this. So I think this would be perfect for literally anybody. So the next fragrance is a vanilla fragrance, but not a vanilla gourmand like Bianco Latte or Escapade Gourmand, and it is Gentle Fluidity Gold by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Now this is a fragrance that I used to wear an awful lot, and I think it's a crowd pleaser. You know, it doesn't smell like the designer fragrances that everybody wears, but I do think this could be enjoyed by most people. It's a lovely, very sweet vanilla. It's quite soft and powdery and musky, with a little bit of spice, but the spice is really subtle and it just adds a nice little texture, a little bit of a, I don't know what this is, but it adds a bit of that to the fragrance. Like it gives it a bit of texture. And I think this is honestly just gorgeous for like springtime. It's quite bright and uplifting, even though it is very sweet. Like I do find this really sweet. There's some caramel in the base that I think adds a certain sweetness that the vanilla just wouldn't give this fragrance. And you know, some people might find it slightly sickly. When I first smelled this, I liked it a lot, but I did think, oh, this is a little bit sickly sweet, but I kind of got used to it. So that is the only thing I would say might be a concern, but most people don't find this super sickly sweet. I think when I got this fragrance, I just wasn't a very vanilla, super sweet type of person, but I can appreciate it a lot more. So I think if you are someone that likes sweet fragrances and likes vanilla and, you know, just likes a lovely, sweet, soft fragrance that, you know, nothing in here is polarizing at all, I don't think anyway. I think this would be absolutely amazing to blind buy. I think it's pretty safe. It smells really good. And yeah, it lasts quite long as well. So let's get into the notes. At the top, we've got juniper berries and some nutmeg. And then in the middle, there is coriander. And in the base, there's vanilla, musk, amberwood, and caramel. So like I said, the caramel gives this an extra dose of sweetness. It's got some musk, it's got some amberwood. It's quite soft and lovely. And I think it's an incredible fragrance that I kind of wish that I could go back to when I first smelled this fragrance, because I was blown away. I really did like it. It was very different for me. I was like, oh, it's very sweet, but it is really gorgeous. So yeah, that is Gentle Fluidity Gold. So the next fragrance is a fruity fragrance that I really enjoy, and I'm looking forward to wearing it in the warmer weather, and that is Sunset Hour by Goldfield and Banks. I think this is quite a safe fragrance as long as you like sweet, fruity fragrances. This fragrance is giving cocktails on the beach, sunshine, happiness, good vibes. That is this fragrance. Honestly, good vibes in a bottle. Absolutely gorgeous. It's a sweet, fruity fragrance that is quite woody as well, but it's quite light. It's not a heavy fragrance. It's not dense or thick or anything like that. It's just light, lovely, refreshing fruits, and it's quite sweet. I say it's refreshing because of the fruits and the types of fruits that are in this, but it is quite sweet. Because I find that if a fragrance is too sweet, it's not too refreshing. It's not something that you really want to wear in summer. But I do think this could be worn in summer, but I haven't actually worn this in summer yet because I've only had this in the cold months. So yeah, I'll give you my verdict when it finally gets a bit sunny in London, and I'll let you guys know. I do think this would be a really good blind buy. There's nothing in here that's offensive. I know I keep saying that about these fragrances, but that's why they're in the list, because they don't have notes that are offensive, that are polarizing, that lots of people hate. They're just nice, lovely, I don't want to say generic, because generic is not the right word, but crowd pleasing fragrances. No one could be offended if you wear this walking past them. So yeah. As far as the notes, at the top you've got an Australian fruit called Kwandong Desert Peach, and you've also got some strawberry. Then in the middle you've got cashmere wood, sandalwood and mandarin orange, and then in the base pink pepper, jasmine sambac, ginger and benzoin. So it's just a lovely concoction of like fruits, a bit of citrus, a bit of wood, and it's just a lovely fragrance. I think it would be a fantastic blind buy, a fantastic gift as well. So yeah, Sunset Hour by Goldfield & Banks. So the next fragrance is another sweet, fruity fragrance, and that is Burberry Her Elixir. This bottle is so ruined, oh my goodness. Anyway, this is a fragrance I used to wear so much. I kind of got a bit tired of it now, but I do think if you like strawberry in your fragrances, then you'll love this one. It is very sweet, very feminine. Like the pink bottle, I think is quite reflective of the vibe of the fragrance. And I think, yeah, if that's your vibe, you want to smell really feminine, really like pink and pretty, and you know, something to wear in the springtime especially, then this would be a good fragrance for you. So the notes are strawberry and blackberry in the top. So quite a juicy type of fragrance. You've got jasmine in the middle, and you've got vanilla, amber and sandalwood in the base. So it's not the most complex of fragrances. It's just a nice, sweet, juicy, fruity fragrance that would suit someone that wants to smell really feminine. Yeah. The jasmine in this is quite strong, but it's not overbearing and it's not too, you know, dense or waxy or anything like that. It's nice, it adds to the fragrance. And I think, yeah, it's a good option. So that is Burberry Her Elixir. So the next fragrance, we're kind of going back into the gourmand category. It is Camera by Lattafa. So this is a fragrance that I find so sexy. It's not a fragrance that I actually wear, but I really enjoy smelling this on a man. Like, honestly, this might be my favorite fragrance to smell on a man. I don't know, but it's up there. I love this fragrance. And I think if you like a sweet gourmand fragrance, but something that doesn't smell like food, I think this would be a good fragrance for you. So like Angel Share, for example, is very gourmand. I love Angel Share, but this it has a similar vibe, but it goes in a different direction. It's not as straight gourmand. It's a nice, soft, and it's a little bit more subtle. So the notes, top notes are cinnamon, nutmeg, and bergamot. The middle notes are dates, praline, tuberose, and mahonial, which is like a synthetic floral note. So you've got the tuberose and you've got the synthetic floral note, just giving that floral texture, adding something different to the fragrance. And then you've got vanilla, tonka bean, amberwood, myrrh, benzoin, and akigala wood. So there's a lot of notes in this fragrance, but I just think overall it's just a sexy, sweet, warm, not dark warm, warm with a little bit of brightness. So I wouldn't restrict this to just like a winter nighttime type of fragrance. I think it's a little bit brighter than that. But if you like, you know, sweet gourmand type of fragrances, but maybe you're looking for something slightly different, or maybe you thought Angel Share was just a bit too much, then I think this would be a really good option. So that is Camera by Lattafa. So the next fragrance is from the house of Nishane, which I think make amazing fragrances. And this is 100 Silent Ways. So this is a lovely, very crowd pleasing type of fragrance. Probably the most crowd pleasing of all the fragrances on this list, I think. This is a soft white floral, really sweet, really feminine. You get the tuberose, but it's not too much because, to be honest, guys, I'm not a fan of tuberose, but I think it's softly done in this fragrance. And it just makes a nice white floral that's very, very sweet. I think a lot of people would like a sweet white floral type of fragrance. So the notes are tuberose, peach, and mandarin orange at the top. Then you've got gardenia, jasmine, and orris in the middle, and vanilla, sandalwood, and vetiver in the base. So, you know, you've got a few different white florals in here: tuberose, gardenia, jasmine. Definitely a white floral fragrance, but it's not sharp at all. It's really soft and really sweet. I think the vanilla, the sandalwood really help to make this a little bit more soft and creamy and not like a sharp white floral. It's not sharp at all. And I think this would be gorgeous for someone that wants to smell really feminine. I do think this is super, super feminine. Similar to Burberry Her Elixir in terms of that really feminine vibe. 100 Silent Ways is that kind of fragrance, very feminine. When I want to feel like a girly girl, then I'll put this fragrance on. So yeah, 100 Silent Ways by Nishane. So the next fragrance is another vanilla fragrance. People love vanilla, so there's quite a few vanilla fragrances in this list, but this is Vanilla 28 by Kayali. Now, this is a fragrance that has really developed over the time that I've had it. When I was wearing this a few years ago, I was wearing it a lot. And every time I sprayed this fragrance, I would literally sneeze. Like, I promise you, every single time I sprayed it, I would sneeze. Doesn't happen to me anymore. And I feel like because I sort of left this fragrance and kind of lost it, I think the fragrance has changed quite a bit. So now when I spray this, it smells quite floral in the beginning. It doesn't make me sneeze anymore because you've got that vanilla orchid and jasmine in the top notes, but that quickly disappears and then it just becomes more boozy. But I think that boozy note is actually just coming from the brown sugar. And then you've also got tonka bean with the brown sugar in the middle. And in the base, we have amber, amberwood, musk, and patchouli. So this is nice. I think I like this more than I used to like it. And something about it kind of reminds me of Armani C. You know, Armani C kind of has that like red wine vibe, and this has the boozy vibe. Something about them, I guess it's the wine or the alcohol vibe with the vanilla. I think that's what is making me think of Armani C. But yeah, I think this is a really good fragrance. If you like something sweet, a little bit boozy, I think it's quite safe. A vanilla fragrance. It's not super complex, but I think it's a nice fragrance. It's very pleasant, and I think it would be quite difficult to dislike this one. I think maybe someone might find that it's quite simple or there's not too much that excites them about it, but I think as far as safe for a blind buy, most definitely Kayali 28. So the last fragrance on this list is from Parfums de Marly, and it is one that they released this year. So I'm sure you guys will know that this is Valaya exclusive. I've resorted to saying Valaya because everyone says Valaya, but I was out here saying Valaya. The original Valaya, I think, is a bit more polarizing than this fragrance because it can be a little bit sharp and a little bit synthetic and just a little bit, you know, much. But this fragrance is softer, and I think it's quite toned down compared to the original, and that's what I think makes this a lot more blind buy safe. So yeah, this is a nice fragrance. To me, it honestly smells like Sprite. I don't know if that makes it more or less appealing, but let me read you the notes. So in the top, we've got almond, mandarin orange, and bergamot. And the almond is really soft and sweet, and it's not anything crazy. It's not like, oh my gosh, what is almond doing in this fragrance? Not at all. The almond is nothing crazy. It just adds a nice soft sweetness to the opening, and it doesn't even last. Like, it's just in the opening and then disappears. To be honest, I could do with a bit more of the almond because I really like almond as a fragrance note, but it doesn't last long in this fragrance. And then in the middle, we've got powdery notes, orange blossom, and white flowers. And then in the base, there's vanilla, akigala wood, sandalwood, and ambroxan. So there's quite a few different notes in this fragrance, but I think overall it's just a nice, soft, woody, slightly powdery, white floral type of fragrance. The florals are not sharp, it's not extremely powdery, Nothing in this fragrance is too extreme. I think it's quite balanced. I think it would be a good fragrance for layering because it doesn't bring too much to a layering combination. It's almost like a neutral fragrance, if that makes any sense. But that's kind of what I get from this fragrance. It really does remind me of Sprite or 7-Up. So if you can imagine those drinks, but not fizzy, so like flat, and just in a fragrance. Like, honestly, that's what this reminds me of. And I just think, you know, it's not offensive. It's nice for every day, really easy to wear, literally wear it with anything. So yeah, Valaya Exclusive by Parfums de Marly. So those are my 10 fragrances that I think are blind buy worthy, blind buy safe, things that you can just go and buy for someone as a gift, or you can just buy it for yourself without going to the shop. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like and also leave a comment. Don't be shy. If you feel like you would love to blind buy one of these, let me know in the comments. And please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.